everyone, welcome back to Let's Talk. My name is John, and today we're going to be talking about the 6th film in the Mission Impossible franchise, Mission Impossible Fallout. But first, before we dive into that, if you are a fan of 4K Blu-ray reviews, movie reviews, lists, and podcasts, we try and do them all here on the channel, and nothing helps this channel out more than by just simply liking this video and subscribing to the channel. So Mission Impossible Fallout was released back in 2018. This one is written and directed by Christopher McQuarrie. It brings back Tom Cruise as Ethan Hunt, the legendary IMF agent. We bring in some of his team from the previous films like Simon Pegg, Ving Rhames. Rebecca Ferguson is joined in this team this time to replace Jeremy Renner, who couldn't return due to scheduling conflict with the Avengers films because he is Hawkeye. And we also bring back Alec Baldwin, and this time more of an ally than an enemy like he was in the previous film. And we also add new stars to this movie like Angela Bassett and Superman himself, Henry Cavill. And unlike all the other previous films in the franchise, this time we don't actually have a new director. This is the first time in the franchise where we have a repeat director. Christopher McQuarrie came back. You know, he did writing on Ghost Protocol, and then he obviously helped out with the writing and directed Rogue Nation. This time he was brought in just to write, but then they decided that they were going to have him direct. You know, him and Tom Cruise have a great working relationship. They truly enjoy each other's company. They have both said that they kind of have the same storytelling aspects to them, and they really think that they make a great partnership. You know, obviously they've worked together not just on the Mission Impossible franchise, but on other franchises as well. And man, they really caught lightning in a bottle with this. Also, Christopher McQuarrie is coming back to direct Dead Reckoning Part 1 and Part 2, so they have kind of gotten on a different track here. But one thing that they did want to do, because every other film looked different from the previous film, is they wanted to change around the cinematography to make this one feel different from Rogue Nation, even though it's the same director. So they kind of changed up the crew a little bit, tried to make this one stand out, and they definitely nailed that, because this film does look very different than Rogue Nation, which Rogue Nation looked very different from Ghost Protocol. So actually one of my biggest weaknesses with this movie, and it's probably the only weakness I even have with this movie, is the cinematography. I think this is kind of where we started to get that blown out look that I really don't enjoy, that modern films just love to do. I mean, I just watched the new Insidious film, and they had the same look where they overexpose the lights in the background, and it will kind of just overwhelm the scene, kind of create like a haze effect. And I get what they're going for. I'm just not a huge fan of that. Obviously a lot of people are, because they use this in a lot of modern films, and you know, it kind of creates a cool artistic style. But if you're not a fan of that, you know, it kind of can take you out just a little bit. And for me, that's my one weakness with this movie, is I'm just not a big fan of the cinematography. And when we get to the 4K Blu-ray review, I think it kind of hurts the 4K as well. But we'll talk about that later, because other than that, this is a fantastic film. And it really is kind of like a part 2 to Mission Impossible Rogue Nation's Part 1. In that film, we were dealing with the Syndicate, led by Solomon Lang. He comes back in this movie. Obviously, he's been imprisoned. The Syndicate has continued. Now they're known as the Apostles, led by John Lark. We don't know who John Lark is, but at the very beginning of this movie, they're trading plutonium. 3 things of plutonium. Ethan Hunt and his crew are there to get it, but Ving Rhames gets put in a very dangerous situation where Tom Cruise has to decide, do I save my friend, or do I get this plutonium out of the wrong hands? And really, that's what sets up this whole movie, is because he decides to save Ving Rhames, and the plutonium gets put into the wrong hands, and now we have to really get that plutonium back before it ends up in the hands of John Lark and the Apostles. And we don't know who John Lark is. That's the big mystery of this movie. But because Ethan Hunt failed at this, Alec Baldwin now has to deal with Angela Bassett's character, basically saying, like, these guys, you know, they're out of control. I have to send in one of my men to be with them, to oversee everything, to make sure everything goes smooth in regaining this plutonium. And that's when we get Henry Cavill's character. I mean, and also, speaking of Henry Cavill, this mustache in this movie is the reason why they had to CGI it out of the Justice League, because he had it in this movie, and in my opinion, should have kept it. Henry Cavill looks fucking awesome in this movie. First of all, he's looking like he's gonna pop out of that shirt every time he's in it. The man is just super jacked, super ripped, with that facial hair. He just looks gorgeous. That's what most men, I feel like, strive to be. I haven't hit that peak yet, but I'm still, I think, on the right path to looking like that eventually, if I, you know, play my cards right. But Jesus Christ. And not only that, he does a phenomenal job acting in this movie. You know, I'm not going to spoil how his character's arc goes, but it really is played perfectly. I really think he added something to the Mission Impossible franchise. I think this movie found the perfect balance that they were trying to get in Rogue Nation, where they balanced those big action set pieces with a really intriguing storyline. You know, this movie is filled with some of the big and most famous set pieces in the entire franchise. Obviously, the helicopter stuff is insane because Tom Cruise really did that. Hijacking scene when they're trying to kidnap Solomon Lang is perfect. And then just the entire chase through the city that ends in the rivers, that all all that stuff is just perfect as well. It's just crazy. All this stuff is done practically. It all looks beautiful on your screen. I mean, my God, the fact that Tom Cruise and everybody is just willing to do all of these stunts is still incredible, and I really think it helps to make the Mission Impossible franchise stand above most other action franchises, and stand above especially with the superhero franchise they're doing, because they don't really use CGI in these movies. Everything just looks real on your screen, and I think this is where they really hit their peak as far as stunts go. Like, you know, Tom Cruise actually broke his ankle in one of the stunts in this movie, and that stunt is still in the movie, and it actually cost the studio $80 million because they had to pay everybody for another 9 weeks where Tom Cruise couldn't be there because he was hurt, so everybody else had to get paid so that they don't take other jobs in the meantime. But the insurance did end up paying for that, so it's no harm, no foul for Paramount Studios, so I'm sure they're not too upset about that. But the guy is willing to risk his life, risk it all. You know, most studios don't want to do that. It's hard for them to get insurance in general just because the guy is going to hurt himself, and they would rather a stunt guy do it, because if a stunt guy gets hurt, at least you could just replace the stunt guy, whereas if the lead actor gets hurt, you can't go on. So it's really could be hard for the studio, but that's what Tom Cruise does. Tom Cruise is a producer on these movies. Tom Cruise is going to do what Tom Cruise wants to do. He's the guy who's out there single-handedly trying to save movie theaters, so we can let him play in his sandbox, his little Mission Impossible sandbox here. And man, for him to risk all of this to make such a phenomenal movie with a lot of twists and turns.
A lot of twists. A lot of twists in this thing, so try and keep up.
Like I said, I thought Rogue Nation had the best screenplay up to that point, and I think this one might actually be a better screenplay overall than that one, especially since it's really playing with what we did with Rogue Nation and just continuing that story in here. And this time we build up to a really satisfying conclusion in the third act, and it's also building on the past of Ethan Hunt and really diving into the character and the person that Ethan Hunt is. You know, we haven't really dived too much into that since the third film, so it was really nice to tie back to that and make this feel like a connected franchise. You know, one thing they were always going for was to make these movies feel separate from the last. You know, we're going on to our next mission, but that's one thing. You bring in Christopher McQuarrie, who had already directed, so now we're really getting to flesh things out a little bit more, which is something you should really be doing for a franchise that has gone this long, is try and make it feel fresh so it doesn't get bogged down and boring like a lot of other long-running franchises do, especially when you don't replace the actor like in the James Bond movies do. Once they start to get stale, they kind of, you know, we lose an actor and then we kind of bring in a new one and it gets refreshing. No, Tom Cruise is the star of all these. He does another phenomenal job in this movie, and I just absolutely love this movie. Does it hit the highs of Ghost Protocol in my opinion? No, Ghost Protocol is still my favorite film in the franchise, but this is easily my second favorite film in the franchise. It is just so well made. It is so well acted. The action is just awesome. I have very little complaints about this movie other than the cinematography, but other than that minor complaint, everything else in this movie is just downright perfect, and it's easily one of the best action films to ever come out, probably the best action film to come out in the last 10 to 15 years, even better than Mad Max Fury Road in my opinion, because you get not just great action, but you get a great story in there as well. But anyway, let's dive into this 4K Blu-ray right now. And this is the Mission Impossible 4K Blu-ray. It did originally come with a slipcover. I unfortunately didn't get it with a slipcover. I'm not too sure why, because I did get this the day it came out. It was a pre-order. I don't know if it just ripped or something like that, but for some reason, I didn't get it with a slipcover. It's okay, though. I was a little bit bothered also. If you remember, the other Mission Impossible movies had that unique design, and they all looked uniform to each other. This one, you know, just has its own design, and it's understandable. It came out way after the previous releases as far as originally came out. Those came out when they were trying to actually get ready, kind of a marketing tactic for Mission Impossible Fallout. So this came out after him, and it's got its own design, which is cool. I like that artwork. It feels a little generic compared to the other ones, just because the other ones had that unique, uniform design, but it's a minor complaint. No big deal there. You pop it open. You get a 3-disc set like you've gotten in the previous 4Ks. Not all of them, but in the previous few. You know, you get a 4K, and then you get a Blu-ray, and then you get just an extras Blu-ray in there, which is pretty cool. I really do appreciate that. And again, just like in the previous ones, Paramount didn't hold anything back when it comes to this 4K, because we get everything. We get a Dolby Atmos track, Dolby Vision, HDR10, plenty of extras on that extras disc. You can watch them all in featurettes, or if you want to watch the entire, like, making of documentary, kind of, you know, you can separate it, or you can watch it in one shot, hit play all. It's about 53 minutes. And just like in Rogue Nation, you could actually choose subtitles for the extras disc, which is really cool. There's many different languages to choose from. Same thing on the Blu-ray and the 4K. There's many different audio tracks and many different languages with many choices of subtitles. And I really appreciate Paramount doing that. I think that's awesome. I've said it pretty much on every 4K review so far, so I won't linger on it too much, but I just think that's a really cool thing that they did to make everyone feel included no matter what language you speak. So I do really appreciate that. And just like in the other ones, the extras are just top notch on these films. You get into everything, a total behind the scenes look at how everything went from the writing, the directing, and just how all the stunts were done. And that's the stuff that really just stands out to me, seeing how much Tom Cruise and everybody risked their lives to make these movies. Although Simon Pegg does say everyone was pretty much safe. Tom Cruise is all about safety, so he does take every proper precaution possible. So this was no different than the other films, but it's still mind-blowing that he did it. It really is. I cannot believe what this man puts himself through. But you can see all of that on the extras disc. Now, what about that 4K disc? So this one's actually a little bit unique. Like I said, I don't love the cinematography of this movie, and I actually thought it hurt the 4K to the point where I was like, is this as good as the previous films? And I don't think it was visually as the previous ones. Yes, you get Dolby Vision and HDR10. And one thing that's cool is you get the IMAX enhanced scenes. It's only a couple scenes in this movie, but one is the big jump early in the movie. And as we're about to go into IMAX, you'll notice the aspect ratio increasing. It's originally in the 2.39 aspect ratio, but then it'll start slowly increasing the black bars until it fills your screen, and we're going to the IMAX enhanced shots. I thought that was awesome. It's like really leading into like this is a movie and you're about to see something really freaking cool. So I really love that aspect of the film and the 4K. And that stuff all looked the best on the 4K were the IMAX enhanced shots. But everything else looked pretty damn good. You know, there was just times where the cinematography would take me out of it. I actually checked it on 2 4K players to make sure that it was just the cinematography and not the disc. And it is, because it's still a damn good 4K disc. Like I said, the Dolby Vision HDR10 do great work. And it is an upgrade from the previous Blu-ray disc that is packed in here. So that's pretty cool as well. So if you have the previous Blu-ray, even though it's not a previous Blu-ray, I'm pretty sure they came out on the same exact day. But if you have the Blu-ray and you've been considering upgrading to the 4K, it is actually a noticeable jump, just like all the other Mission Impossible movies. The 4K is just so much brighter. It's hitting the blacks so much better than the Blu-ray. The Blu-ray can look a little bit grainy, a little bit muddy, and a little bit faded. Not bad, though, just in comparison to the 4K. It's not like it's a bad Blu-ray. It's a modern Blu-ray shot with modern cameras, so it's still going to look good. The audio tracks are the same on the Blu-ray. It's just that the 4K is going to give you more of the bells and whistles, where everything is going to look better, brighter. You know, the colors are going to look more vivid and dynamic. You're going to get a better contrast ratio. You're going to get better looks at the skin tones. There's times, though, still even on that 4K, because of the lighting, where the skin tones can look a little bit unnatural on the 4K, and that's why I just think it's not the best of 4Ks in comparison to what I thought that Mission Impossible 3, Ghost Protocol, and Rogue Nation was. This is more in line, I think, with the first two, and it's still not a complaint because they think they're all really solid Paramount releases. You know, Paramount, when they want to, they are the best. They really can put out some of the best 4Ks. They put out Top Gun Maverick only a couple years after this, and that's probably the benchmark of 4Ks, but this one really has all the bells and whistles. I just think the cinematography of the film kind of holds this 4K back from being one of the best 4Ks of all time, but it's still a really solid 4K Blu-ray, and obviously with a great film packed in there. You get plenty of extras, great audio, great visuals. I don't have too many complaints about this, but I can't give it the high scores of like Ghost Protocol, Rogue Nation, or Mission Impossible 3. So I would still give this a really solid 9 out of 10. Definitely pick this one up, and actually at the time of this recording, I believe it's on sale, and that's because you get those 4K Steelbooks coming out. But if you want to grab the edition I have, I think it's only like 14 bucks on Amazon. But those new 4K Steelbooks that just came out are all beautiful. I wish I would have waited, but then I wouldn't have had the discs to watch them all over again. But I really do love what they did with the artwork on all those. Those are going to look really nice on your shelf, and I'm hoping that the Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning 4K Steelbook looks similar to those so that they all can line up nice and uniform on your shelf if that's the route you choose to go. But anyway, guys, enough of me rambling. It's also time for us to pick our 2,000 subscriber giveaway winner and to pick our digital code giveaway winners. So let's dive into that right now. Hey guys, thanks for sticking around to the end of the video for our 2,000 subscribers Skinamarink giveaway and our digital code giveaway. We do this every single week. Well, we only do the 2,000 subscriber giveaway once, but we do our digital code giveaway every single week. So make sure you're always coming to Friday's videos for our digital code giveaway. And then once you do that, you come back to this video every single Monday where we put your name on a magic wheel and we spin that wheel 2 times and we pick our 2 digital code giveaway winners who then have their choice of the digital codes that you have seen on your screen before you today. But before we do our digital code giveaway, let's do our 2,000 subscriber giveaway and hand out this copy of Skinamarink. Alright, time to spin the wheel and see who gets Skinamarink on Blu-ray.
Taking the elevator, going up. Got a lot of ground to cover, and I'm in love with the good life. Can't give it up. Make it to the top, keep climbing. I wanna live it up. The good life. I'm coming up, I'm coming up.
Alright. Well, there you have it. Rico Gomez is the winner of the Skinamarink Blu-ray with this beautiful slipcover. Rico Gomez actually has been a supporter of this channel for a long time, and he helps me out with a lot of sales and film recommendations. He'll email me and let me know when there's a sale available, and usually I try and pass that information on to you guys. So it's pretty cool to see somebody like that get their win of this nice, beautiful copy of Skinamarink. But we're also here for our digital code giveaway, so let's handle that right now as well. First wheel spin coming up.
Taking the elevator, going up. Got a lot of ground to cover, and I'm in love with the good life. Can't give it up. Make it to the top, keep climbing. I wanna live it up. The good life. I'm coming up, I'm coming up.
Dylan Flickinger. Alright, Dylan, I'm going to remove you. Spin again.
Taking the elevator, going up. Got a lot of ground to cover, and I'm in love with the good life. Can't give it up. Make it to the top, keep climbing. I wanna live it up. The good life. I'm coming up, I'm coming up.
And Steve. Dylan Flickinger and Steve. Dylan, I think this is your first win. I know this isn't Steve's first win, so for you guys, make sure you email me on letstalkentmt@gmail.com, or you can always hit me up on social media, Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter. DM me there. Let me know which of the digital codes you want. As long as the other winner didn't take it, that digital code is all yours. Rico, you already know how to reach me. And for everybody who entered both giveaways and didn't win, I just want to thank every one of you for your support here on the channel. It does mean the world to me. I want to keep doing more giveaways in the future. You know, I have big plans for the channel going forward now that we've hit 2,000 subscribers. Eventually, I want to start a Patreon, and on the Patreon, I want to do physical giveaways at least once a month. That's my goal. You know, if the money's right, I want to do like one big giveaway a month where we give away like something that's worth the money, like something like a big collector's edition of something that means something to the movie fan, the collector out there. So I do want to do more of these in the future. You know, we got to still just keep growing the channel, and the channel keeps growing thanks to all of you. Without all of you, none of this would be possible. And even though we're only 2,000 plus subscribers right now, it's still growing at a rapid pace, and I really can't thank each and every one of you enough. I'm serious when I say it. It really does mean the world to me. I absolutely love doing movie reviews. I love doing YouTube. It's honestly my passion, and I feel like I found my passion. And none of this could happen if it wasn't for all of you. So again, thank you all so much. And if you guys won these giveaways, make sure you reach out to me and let me know what you want as far as digital codes go. And Rico, make sure you reach out to me also so we can send out this nice copy of Skinamarink to you. And again, guys, thank you so much. Enjoy your day. Make sure you come back here tomorrow to see my Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1 review. And I'm also going to rank every single Mission Impossible movie in that review, so you can get my final rankings up to Dead Reckoning Part 1, that is, in tomorrow's video. So make sure you come back to that. And then while you guys are down in the comment section commenting, make sure you guys like this video, subscribe to the channel, and then just go out in those streets and tell all your friends about us. We'll be seeing you around.